Alright guys, welcome back. I know I haven't posted in a while, but a lot has happened since I last posted. Just wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on. So I upgraded from 67 to 76s. You can see them down there. They're pretty much sitting the same exact location. The only difference was I did have to the frame rail that comes down, right about here, and you got the opening for the exhaust and goes that way. Right up here on the top left, I had to notch out a little piece to get that 3.5 inch exhaust to come down and run all the way through, all the way down the sill. Now, that was about it. Everything else fit exactly the same. The 76's ball bearings now, they have 3.5 inch outlet and 3 inch inlet with a 1.28 AR. Not a whole lot has changed going from the two. The 67s were a little bit too small, and I kept having to rebuild them after probably 6 or 7 months. Just the little bearing inside there would go bad, and it would get a little wobble and start to smoke a little bit. Not a huge deal, but I didn't want to have to rebuild them every 6 to 7 miles or 6 to 7 months. And eventually I was going to go higher boost anyways. 79, it seemed fine. I ran 79 psi for about a year, no problems, but as soon as I started going to 12 psi, that's when I ran into problems. Along with the boost curve is a little different, not huge different. So with the 67s, I was able to pull with my anti-lag 2-step in at $3,000. I would be able to build 12 pounds of boost, no problem. With the 76s, I can't do that. I can only manage about maybe about 9 to 10 psi at $3,000. But as soon as I move it up to about 32, I can build 12 pounds of boost. And then 15, I did go to the dyno, and when you guys saw, I don't know if I posted the pictures or not. I'll actually show them to you here in a minute. The 15 psi, I put down 1,023, but above 5,000 RPM. I blew off one of the stupid vacuum lines, one of the stock vacuum lines that was like way down here that I couldn't fix on the dyno. I actually had to take this all apart or whatever and just get it really quick, and then I used a clamp so it wouldn't come off again. But above 5,000 RPM, I blew the line off, dropped to 7 psi. I still put down 1,023. And that's all at about 15 degrees timing. Not huge, not a whole lot of timing, I didn't think. But again, there's not a whole lot of information on the interwebs for this kind of thing. I was no detonation going on during the dyno, but I still blew off the line, so I had to call it a day. My 12 psi, I put down 980. So there was that. But 15 psi, I couldn't do at 32. It was like 33, 3,400 RPMs when I can hit 15 psi with the anti-lag 2-stepping. So not a huge difference, just move the boost a little bit to the right in the RPM range. I mean, obviously there's 76s, not 67s, so there's a huge difference there. I did notice during shifting, because I do lift shift and I still got the stock transmission. I do lift shift, so during lift shifts, it's about this. It actually, I think they spool a little bit faster when I'm up in the RPM range. So I shift it 6,500 RPM, drop down to whatever, 50, like $5,000, 5,200 RPM. It takes me about 800 to 900 RPM to get back to full boost. Because they're already kind of spooled up. I'm already at $5,000. I got enough pressure to get them spooled up again. With the 67s though, it took me almost 1,000, maybe 1,100 RPM to get back to full boost, and that's probably because they were too small. I was choking myself and all that stuff. So that's what's happened. Except for here, I'll go grab those dyno sheets really quick for you guys. Oh, I got the dyno sheets pulled out. This was stock. Before I did anything, just to make sure. See what I was putting down. I was putting down 500 and 495 pounds of torque. Saw 506 there, but lower, less torque, but it's probably just a difference in temperatures. Let me go to 7 psi. I put down 822 power and 762 foot-pounds of torque, and this is all at pretty relative timing. Like I said, about 15 degrees, give or take. And then 9 psi netted 885 and 831 torque. And then 12 psi, we had a problem with spinning on the dyno. I would two-step, and as soon as I would let go, that's what that flat spot is right there, just spinning on the dyno. And it would finally catch, and then we would get some power. 12 psi, put down, it was 950 corrected and 882 corrected. But actually, I did 980. It was 985 uncorrected that day. And then 15 psi, same thing. We spun, and then she finally took off. Put down 1023, and max torque was like 9 something. I cut it off for some reason. But you can see the dip right there. Boom! Lost all pressure right there. About 5,500 RPM. Lost all boost, and then it still kind of kept going, but it was too late. It didn't matter. You can see the torque just straight drop right there. It didn't really matter. So there was that. All right, now back onto the fun stuff. So I did a lot of races. I did a whole lot of stuff. I've made, probably like 300-400 hits on the street, tuning her and everything like that. And I'm actually surprised the stock motor lasted this long. I actually thought the transmission was going to go before the engine went, but instead the engine went. Not sure exactly what caused it. It could have been from overspinning, could have been from the oil issues that the stock engines are known to have. It could have been detonation. I don't know. I looked at my data log, and everything looked fine. I had 70 psi of oil pressure. There was nothing screwy on the air to fuel ratio. Nothing was crazy there. No boost spikes. Absolutely nothing. And it happened when I let off the shift. And I'll post the video up here later and tag it to the video. It's when I let off is when piston number 2 let loose. And here is the damage. Number 2 lost all compression. And as you can see, the piston is not supposed to be a smiley face. And you can see right there where it actually started rubbing on the cylinder wall. And then this was actually still all intact. This huge piece or whatever was actually still all intact, and it didn't fall out until I started ripping the rings out and all that stuff. But so it was still all intact and still on there. But I lost all compression. I've recently ripped down the entire motor. There's no other damage. It was just that one piston. As you can see, I got the number 2 piston out. There's no other damage. All the other pistons are fine. All the other pistons have good compression. Everything's fine. Again, I don't know if it was from overspinning it. I upped it. On that run, I did run to 6,800 RPM. I didn't mean to. I was supposed to shift to 65. But it came up so fast. It goes from 65 to 68 within, a half a second, a millisecond. I shifted and kept going. And then when I let off is when it started smoking. And there was you couldn't really tell other than the smoke coming out of my catch cans. There was a lot of white smoke, and then I heard a knock coming out of the exhaust, out of this side of the exhaust. You couldn't really hear anything underneath the hood. It was mainly coming out the exhaust. I knew something was wrong. Obviously, I'm smoking and all that stuff. Tear it down, did a compression test. The number 2 cylinder was done. The head is actually perfectly fine. So now we are going to do a 9-liter build. I still haven't decided on who I'm going to go with, or if I might actually just do it myself, build it myself. Haven't decided yet. But it doesn't even matter because the transmission is whining like a supercharger now. So I started making a whole lot of runs and hits and stuff like that when I was tuning, and it started whining a little bit on my slicks, and I put down so I put down a best of 4.3 with a 4.5 to back it up, 60 to 130 time on the slicks on the street. And those are actually just those are my road racing tires. Those aren't even my like straight drag slicks. These are my road racing tires, but they get better traction than my R888s. So I figured I would run those excuse me, during the testing and all that stuff, so I can get an accurate boost test and stuff like that. On the street, even with that 4.3, traction control screamed a little bit, not too bad, but still definitely pulled some power. 15 PSI on the street, those did not hold at all. I couldn't get them warmed up. I couldn't get them to grip or anything like that. And 12 PSI is what I ran at the track the entire time. I've never run the 15 PSI since the dyno. I always stuck with 12 just in case nothing would break, but it didn't matter anyways because we broke it. I forgot to show you guys the slips really quick. So I'm car number 3. I was car number 3 the entire time. This is all roll racing. Traction was very limited. Like I said, second gear, spin. I had a short shift. We were doing about 40 rolls to begin with. I did a 141, and that was against a 900 horsepower Hellcat. Beat that guy, and then 145 was my next one. Track started heating up a little bit better, but again, still same thing. But if you look at my 60-foot time, it was horrible. 1.2, whereas this one over here, which I did less speed, but my 60-foot was 0.9. So I got more traction here, but did a lower speed because of something, not sure exactly why. And then the next one, same thing, 60-foot was a 1.6, was even worse than this one, but I still managed to go faster. And then the final one where I blew up and I was against a 900 horsepower GTR, I did a decent 60-foot time, and I did a 153.3, and that's all quarter mile roll racing. And again, like I said, I was fighting traction the entire time, so I won all my races, so it wasn't too bad. Blew up the car. Oh well. I'm also going to do a full sequential on the build. I'm going to send that one out and have somebody else to do it, probably either Calvo or Ninth Motor or somebody. I'm shopping around right now, see who's got the best deal on those. More than likely, it's probably going to be Ninth Motor. I've thought about doing it myself, but I don't feel like dealing with it just because I've never done one of those. So I'm probably going to ship the transmission out to Ninth Motor, get them to do it. And then the engine, like I said, I might do it myself. It's going to be a lot cheaper if I do it myself. For the crank, the pistons, the rods, all the gaskets, the bearings, billet main caps, and upgraded push rods is going to run me about $12,000 in parts. Not horrible. Talked to some of the companies, and for a short block, they're saying between $25,000 to $40,000 for a short block. That's not including the long block, the heads, or anything like that. So I think I might end up just doing it myself, and then putting the stock heads back on and just run it like that for a little bit, because over 1,000 horsepower is a little bit is enough for the street right now, and this isn't going to be done by the time summer's over, or by the time before summer. It's going to be more like a next winter kind of thing, probably, more than likely. So I might just end up doing it myself, a little bit cheaper, and see what I can do on my own. And I'll probably be posting those videos up soon and see what y'all think about those. If you like the content, and if you like what you're hearing, let me know, and I can do something else. Maybe you want to see next time I pull these bad boys off, I'll show you guys exactly what I had to do to make the 76s fit. Like I said, it wasn't a whole lot more. It was just a little notching of that one frame, and since you can't really look at any of the other Viper builders on how they do it, I'm pretty sure that's what they do. I did look at Vengeance Racing. Their 76 millimeter turbos, they do the exact same thing. They take out basically everything that's right there, that entire frame right there. I didn't do that. I just took off just this little corner right here. I didn't have to, but they also use I think it's a T4. It's their T3 or T4. So they had to clear up a little bit more room. I used the V-band, so I didn't have to notch out too much. But other than that, yeah, if you guys want to see anything else, let me know.